Do you follow your son on social media?
I do. I follow him on social media. In fact, I'm going to begin this year running his social media accounts because he is a basketball player, he's a freshman in high
Okay.
school, so he's in his second semester. And he's at that stage in his life where his sports is, it's being kind of control, if you will,
Oh,
of
okay.
his life, so to speak.
Hmm.
So him, I will be running his social media. Oh yes, Mama. I call myself basically a momager. And he's okay with that. He's like, he understands, he understands the reason and the purpose behind it. But yeah, I tell him, I said, even when you like people's pages, you comment on their pages, anyone can go back and take a look at that print. I mean, think about how many people have gotten into trouble where they become famous or whatever, or they're in the public eye, or they're in politics, and all of a sudden someone goes back and says, "Yeah, but you wrote this tweet in back in 20, I don't know, 2009, like 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and you said X, Y, and Z, 15 years ago." So we're telling kids, and we're trying to teach kids, and my son, that you have to be really careful. You can't just, fly off the mouth and say what you necessarily think all the time, especially if it could be deemed to be, disrespectful or whatever. Anything that's not good, basically. You have to be really, really careful with it because people are always looking. When you're up, people are always looking for a way to bring you down. Unfortunately, but you have to be really careful about the little footprint that you're leaving. So yeah, I'm in control of that right now.
Okay.
And when he gets to be 18 and 19, he can. But I'm just in a different situation because his social media, his accounts need to really market what he does. It needs to really, to be. It needs to represent his
His
basketball.
future. Okay.
And so with him being so busy at school, he doesn't really have the time to do that, a lot to that. But yes, when he's on other people's pages and commenting, we're like, all right, be careful what you're liking, because people are watching.
Okay. Okay.
And
The
that's
reason why I asked
for
this
all of us.
question.
It's for all of
Okay.
us.
The reason why I asked this question because I have been asking a couple of people who have friends, and one of them was my aunt and my cousin. He's 20. He's 24. Oh God, we're 10 years apart. Jesus Lord. And I, of course, my aunt, she doesn't go peruse on Instagram. So I asked my friends, she has little kids. They're not old enough to have Instagram, but I just, raise the question, are you going to follow your kids to on like TikTok or Instagram when it's still around? And I don't know, I don't know how I feel about it because it's like a new etiquette that needs to be added on whether or not, yeah, I mean, I want to give my child some privacy, but just hearing the craziness that kids get into or just thinking about their future, yeah, I just don't know which way to go. And I don't have any kids, so that's why I'm like kind of just asking from your standpoint, like, do you follow your kids on social media or do you just kind of just let your child be a child and you don't know what your child does? Like how back in the day, your parent didn't know what you were doing. There was no social media, but now like your parents can actually look and see at your every move what you're doing on social media. So I'm just like, man, like, do you follow your child? Should I? I don't know. I'm just like kind of just filling it out to see like where
Yeah,
people's point of views are. I just think it's
yeah.
interesting. But your child is an athlete. He wants to be an athlete. So yeah, starting now is definitely important.
We tell Ian all the time. We say, whatever you post and whatever you like, would God be pleased?
Mhm.
First of all, would God be pleased? And second of all, is this something that if anybody were to go back and look at, whether it's me or your dad or whoever, that they would be ashamed of? And would you be ashamed of? And so we always say, and he knows that if we ask to see your phone, that we're going to look through it
Mhm.
and make sure that you're staying above board. But I will tell you, we have yet to really do that because we really do trust our son. And we trust him because he said, Mom, if you want my phone, you can have it. very clear, like, I'm not doing anything, and he understands. Because I think there's been too many situations and examples of teenagers and people getting involved in social media. He understands the implications of that. We're very, very grateful and blessed that he understands that social footprint can be the win or the lose in life.
Right.
And so, I comment on his pages sometimes, and I see what he's liking, and so far so good. Knock on wood, thank God, we've had no issues with that. But I know that social media is a really big issue for a lot of parents and a lot of families, a lot of kids who are just on the phone all the time. I mean, we are very clear about you're not using your phone all day long. Your phone is up when we're in bed. It's turned off. You got to put it up. And he's proven to us that he has been able to handle that responsibility. So we're very, very blessed. But not everyone can say that. And I just really think, even if you have 2 or 3 kids, every child is different. So what you may have rules for one kid is something totally different for another child. So a lot of it is just trial by error. It's understanding who your child is. It's making sure that they are not so consumed and focused by social media, that they're not in their phones all the time, but that they're in books, that they are well rounded.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like I said, we've been really, really blessed, but it's
Okay.
hard. It's a difficult scenario for a lot of people.
Yes. That's why I was like, let me ask this question to her. Oh
We're,
man.
we're on top of it. Not because we don't trust him, but because we just want to make sure. And I think, he has learned that at any moment in time, yeah, I'm going to say, let me see your phone.
Okay.
And he's on our plan, so we can turn the phone off if we need to. We haven't had to do that, but he
Mm-hmm.
understands that there are going to be consequences if you don't follow the rules.